strikes out the side here in the ninth.
And that's the best stuff he's had all year.
It really is.
And he lit this place up.
Now, back to the morning roast with Bonte and Shasky.
All right, Giants get the series win. Camilo Duvall, a couple good outings against the Padres. Got the win Friday in the home opener. Got the save yesterday. Good job by Camilo Duvall. Thought Logan Webb battled. And the pitching, look, Padres scored 8 runs in the 3 games. You hold down that Padres lineup to only 8 runs in 3 games.
And a couple defensive miscues really led to those runs.
Yeah, no doubt. Jung Ho Kang misplaying the ball. That's the second time I've seen him misplay a ball. A couple balls. The one at Dodger Stadium where he runs into the wall. He's got to figure out where these walls are. He's got to get out there earlier and figure out the dimensions of these fields.
Totally agree.
I mean, that's a catchable ball in the first inning yesterday by Jung Ho Kang. But the big thing with the Giants right now is the bats.
Well, the Jung Ho Lee's at-bats weren't looking good for a couple days. He finally made the adjustment. They were pitching him inside early, and then he was yanking the ball. They're like, all right, well, we're going to pitch you away. And then he's rolling over ground balls to second base.
I mean, he rolled like 4 straight over.
Yeah.
4 straight at bats.
But then yesterday he made the adjustment and went back up the middle with those outside pitches. So, look, he's going to have to continue to adjust. Like, there's no doubt about it. I like the player overall. He misplayed a ball in the sun on Saturday. I thought he should have caught that ball off the wall. It's a tough play. That's the one a center fielder dreams of, is the one I'm going to rob a home run and I could time my jump. And to your point, that's where you work on it, catching and snagging fly balls during batting practice. You work on that before games. It's your home stadium. You should know how many steps you have and understand where the warning track is. So I'm 100% with you on that. He's got to be better. But, man, I went to the game on Friday. I had a good time. The one thing that I don't like, and this is just me, and I know that there's analytics nerds out there that are going to disagree with me, I will never, ever, ever understand why you throw your closer out there in a tie game in the 9th inning. I don't get it. I don't do it. I put my closer in the same setting every time. I'm up. Like, that's the only time. I know he hasn't gotten any work, and he's been sitting for a couple of days. I just don't love my closer coming into a non-save situation. That's just me. I think that setting and routine and all those things are so important. And this, we're at home, it's a tie game, I'm going to use my closer. I don't subscribe to that. I know it's an absurd thing to be obsessed over.
Well, fantasy baseball, I would always get upset when a closer came into a non-closer situation because it always felt like they gave up a run or whatnot.
That's what I'm saying.
But you know what? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You got to go with your best guy. Do you want to be like Buck Showalter and not use your closer in a playoff game, like Zach Britton just standing there in the bullpen?
Well, that's
Toronto,
a do-or-die game.
To run die. But sometimes some of these games are do-or-die. You got to get series wins. These are very, very important. These are very important. Now you have the season series so far over the Padres. You beat them 4 times. You lost to them 3. That's a positive over the first 7 games against the San Diego Padres. So you got to do what you got to do. The more concern is the concern is the bats, because the pitching was, for the most, even Keith Wynn Saturday,
he was okay.
He gave up the grand slam. Yeah. You know what? I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. Like, in terms of just giving up 4 runs in 5 innings, he made a mistake that jerks should profar. He gets it out there. That's stuck. That was the ball game. But to me, the bats have to start showing up here. And look, you get the Washington Nationals, and we got the opener, or excuse me, not the opener, but the debut of Blake Snell tonight against the Washington Nationals. These are gotta have them games. These are games you get fat and happy. You get Blake Snell into the rotation. All of a sudden you go Blake, you go Harrison, you got Webb. You start rolling here, but it's the bats.
So
it's Matt Chapman batting 195. It's Tyrone Strada batting 154. It's Jorge Soler now. He's starting to pick it up a little bit here. Jorge Soler starting to put together some good at-bats. But Jung Ho Kang from the leadoff spot batting 205. I know a lot of people, I mean, I would say 90% of Giants fans are fixated on Mike Yastrzemski. And I get it. He's batting .063. He's got 1 hit on the season. But I look at the big money players. How I operate, I work from the top down. I don't look from the bottom up. So, yes, is he going to factor into a lot of wins and losses this year? Hey, look, Dave Fleming told us last Thursday, Bob Melvin would not be patient with him or Austin Slater. And you're starting to see with Austin Slater, he's got 7 at-bats on the season. You're starting to see it with Mike Yastrzemski. This is all the big money guys. And Chapman with the game-winning hit yesterday, I'll take that all day long. but he is batting 195.
Well, the runners in scoring position, Chapman. So before in the game, they had a second and third with one out. You got to hit a ground ball to the right side or you got to hit a fly ball. You got to get a run in that situation, especially for Logan Webb, who has suffered from a lack of run support throughout his entire Giants career, right? Like, that was what did him in last year. He had the least amount of run support in baseball, even though he went deeper and longer than anyone in baseball. And you got to execute there. So, like, runners in scoring position, it feels like they can't get the big hit.
Yeah, no, they've been awful in that situation. Awful with runners in scoring position. The Giants, at one point, Chapman was like 3 for his last 30, and, runners in scoring position. Thairo Estrada's not looking good. 13 strikeouts and 39 at bats. Batting 154, although Thairo Estrada had the big hit Friday, and Chapman scores all the way from first base. Great slide, beats the tag on a great relay throw by the San Diego Padres. Chapman coming through. Estrada came through when you need him. And look, early on, you got to win some games.
Yes.
Ugly. I'm not mad at it. You win the season series against the Padres, who do have good pitching. Dodgers obviously have good pitching. Now let's see what you do against the Nationals. Can you put together some quality at-bats and get fat and happy here?
So who are you the most concerned with when it comes to this lineup?
I'm not concerned with anybody right now, to be honest with you. It's 10 games in.
Well,
10 games in. I am watching. I want to see how Jung Ho Lee, as he faces Major League pitch. I know a lot of people, we want to crowd him and say he's the next star for the Giants. I'm cool with that. If he's a star, great.
Well, he's got to prove it.
Wait and see mode with Jung Ho Lee. I want to see how it looks the first 2 months of the season. Because you're going to go on the road here to Tampa Bay and Miami and Florida. Those are nasty. It's always been a nasty road trip for the Giants. Going down to South Beach, Miami, seems like they always lose that series over the years, no matter what.
When I think of Miami on the road, I think of Hunter Strickland. And who was the guy? It wasn't Jazz Chisholm. Who was the guy that...
D. Gordon?
No, there was a guy that hit a routine fly ball, and Hunter Strickland ended up... I don't think it was D. Gordon. And he ended up breaking his wrist. You don't remember that?
I don't.
He got super angry because the guy pimped a pop up, which got a run home, a sack fly.
Well, the recent memory I have
did in their entire year.
The recent memory I have is Buster Posey almost breaking his jaw sliding into third base.
That's right. I forgot about that. I'll tell you who I'm a little not concerned, but I think he's the guy that I'm looking at, and I'm looking at Matt Chapman. And the reason why I'm looking at Matt Chapman,
you're concerned about Matt Chapman?
Not necessarily concerned. When you sign a 1-year deal, like these pillow deals that these guys sign, I do think there's a lot of pressure built into it, right? Like Jung Ho Lee, there's a lot of pressure just inherently because you did sign a $100 million deal. $100 million is $100 million. Now it's a multi-year deal, and so there's a little bit of like, hey, he's going to be here for a couple years at minimum, so he can play himself into it. When you are basically trying to cash in on a career year and opt out, I just think it's really difficult. Conforto tried to do that last year, and it was kind of an up and down year. Conforto's been awesome this year, and he's in a contract year again. Matt Chapman is betting on himself, and I see a guy at the plate, and he just looks slightly off. Defensively, he's a stud. I mean, that play to his left, spinning, pivoting, and throwing, I mean, that's a sick play. But, there's a lot of pressure for this guy.
Well, let's be honest.
And it's not a hitter's park.
He's a lifetime 240 hitter. Lifetime. What?
Lou Brinson was the guy that hit the fly ball.
I don't remember it. Oh, Louis Brinson, I remember the player.
Who was he traded for? He was a part of a big trade.
Louis Brinson. Lou Brinson.
He's a South Florida guy.
I don't remember the wrist injury. But Matt Chapman's a lifetime 240 hitter. Like, he's not going to hit for average. He had one season in which he batted above 249. He's got 234, 249, 232, 210, 229, 240, and right now he's at 195. He's had 1 year in which he batted 278. That was the only time Chapman, over the course of his career, has batted over 249. So he's not going to hit for average.
No, but wouldn't you agree that putting him in the 4-hole is probably like we did this with Brandon Belt for almost a decade.
There?
What?
Who else are you going to put there?
No, I know. Like he's miscast.
Right.
It's like,
no
so
doubt.
what I'm saying is I think that inherently there's a lot of pressure for Matt Chapman, and I would ease him off the pressure. But to your point, like who are you going to put there? I mean, Soler. I would probably move Conforto up to the 3-hole. And then I'd move Soler to the 4-hole and then have Chapman be in that 5 spot. That's what I would do. Now we're talking one slot. It shouldn't be that big of a deal.
But ideally he's a 6 hitter.
That's what
he's a 6 hitter.
There we go.
But then that's why you got to just make it to the deadline. You make it to the deadline in the race, and maybe you could trade for one of these bats on a struggling team. And you got to feast on these struggling teams. You got to be out there in front if you're Farhan Zaidi. But right now, look, Chapman is a guy who's going to strike out. He's not going to hit for average. And you just hope the power comes along. Yeah, sure, there's going to be pressure. He knows the deal. And look, if he fails, he can just opt right back in and get his check. So
what could Ford
really,
do?
I actually think he's playing with house money.
You think so?
Yeah, the way I look at it is Matt Chapman just go out there and play baseball. If I fail, well, I know I got a home next year. I could just opt in. If I ball out, I get to opt out and make some more cash. So he's in a win-win situation.
Now that you've seen 10 games of him, roughly, what do you think of the defense?
All right, he's always been good. We watched a lot of A's games. We knew the defense was going to translate. He's great defensively. He's one of the best defensive third baseman we've seen in the last 10 years.
Do we overrate defense in baseball, just in general?
I don't. Do you?
No, I don't think there's an emphasis on defense, and I do believe like the bat has to carry you in the lineup, right? Like I think we're gonna like, for example, Yastrzemski. Yastrzemski's a pretty good defensive outfielder, but like when the bat is struggling this bad, I don't even care about your defense. You know, like Nick Ahmed right now is doing just enough with the bat, to justify playing every single day, and so he's not getting the ire of the fans. And he's been really good defensively, even though his arm isn't the strongest. The guy just makes plays at shortstop.
No, Chapman's fine defensively. I'm not worried about Chapman whatsoever. I'm not mad. I'm not, Soler's going to hit for power. But this is what I thought with this lineup. Can you make it to the deadline? Pitching's going to have to carry it. You're going to have to find a couple more bats. Now, maybe that bat is Luis Matos, who's tearing it up right now in AAA. Maybe you need to just get him up. Because you need guys who can get on base, who can run on the base pass, who can hit with runners in scoring position. Because ideally, yes, Chapman is a 6-hole. I think he's a 6 hitter. Ideally, I think Soler's a 5 guy. 4 or 5 guy. You know what I'm saying?
You're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right.
That's just me. That's my opinion when you look at all the lineups here. So get the bats rolling here. They got to get those going. It's the first week of the season. Yeah. So I'm not really concerned about anybody. Not Chapman. I'm not concerned. Now I'm waiting to see what Jung Ho Lee does. How can he play through his struggles? Tyro Estrada, what's going on with him? And then is Wilmer Flores just going to be ousted out? Is he going to be iced out here?
Well, he pinch hit yesterday, got a hit, and then they pinch ran for him. Like, it does feel like he's kind of a rotation piece right now. He was your best player last year.
Yep.
But Lamont Wade's been good. I think Lamont Wade made 2 really nice plays on errant throws where he tagged the runner coming down the line. They look okay right now. I think the Padres are better than everyone gives them credit for. For some reason, I feel like not you and I, but people dismiss the Padres. And I look at that lineup, I'm like, dude, they got hitters, dude.
No, they do got hitters. But overall, I feel good about where the Giants are at. 4-6. They'll take on the Washington Nationals and
you got to get fat and happy.
And the debut against the Washington Nationals. Debut against the Washington Nationals for Blake Snell. 3-game set against the Nats. You're going to face, you got Patrick Corbin Wednesday.
I know, Wednesday with him, yeah.
And then today,
it's a good matchup for the Giants pitching-wise.
Yeah, today Trevor Williams. So the Giants should be able to get rolling against the Nats. There's nothing